Everyone talks about what Elon Musk built. Nobody asks what the Elon Musk childhood actually broke, and why that breaking made everything else possible. A rocket company that every expert said was going to fail. An electric car that the auto industry laughed at. A vision of Mars that most people still think is science fiction. Where does that level of certainty come from in a man who had no certainty growing up? On one side, a boy thrown down a staircase, hospitalized, abandoned by the one person he trusted. On the other side, a bookstore corner, warm and quiet, where something was being built that no one could see yet. The answer to how a bullied, bookworm kid became someone who inspires millions, it starts not in Silicon Valley, but in a house in Pretoria, South Africa. And by the end of this video, you'll see exactly how adversity stopped being a wound and started being a weapon. By the end of this video, you will understand why a boy who couldn't make a single friend at school ended up with the mental architecture to build 3 industries simultaneously. You'll see the exact moment, at 14 years old, when Elon Musk read one book and rewired his entire reason for existing. A paperback that turned an existential crisis into a life mission. And you will understand why leaving South Africa at 17 with almost nothing was not an escape. It was the first calculated move of a man who had been rehearsing this his entire childhood. This is not a story about a genius who got lucky. This is a story about a specific kind of pressure and what it forged. Let's go back to Pretoria. Pretoria, 1971. A city where the strongest men were revered and the quietest ones were prey. This is where Elon Musk was born, into a culture built entirely against him. South Africa under apartheid was a country held together by force. Hundreds of black students had died in the streets protesting the white government just days before Musk turned 4. Tension was everywhere. Violence was ordinary. The white Afrikaner culture surrounding Musk celebrated toughness. Jocks were kings. Reserved, bookish boys were outsiders. Musk fit none of the categories that made a boy safe in Pretoria. Almost from the beginning, he sensed that something about the world had gone wrong. And almost from the beginning, he started plotting an escape, not yet knowing what he was escaping toward. Musk's mother, May, noticed early that her son was different. Not difficult, different. He would drift into a trance mid-conversation. People called his name. He didn't respond. Doctors assumed he was deaf. He wasn't. When Musk disappeared like that, he was building something. Inside his mind, he saw images with the clarity of an engineering diagram. 3-dimensional, precise, fully formed. His brain had simply gone somewhere else. By age 5 and 6, he had trained himself to block out everything. All noise, all distraction, and concentrate entirely on a single problem. Other children didn't understand it. They thought he was rude, or weird, or both. It didn't endear him to his peers, May said. He genuinely believed that pointing out flaws in someone's thinking was doing them a favor. Kids don't respond well to that. And so, the isolation deepened. While other kids played outside, Musk read. Not occasionally, compulsively. His brother Kimball said it was not unusual for Elon to read 10 hours in a single day, 2 books in a weekend, every weekend. When the family went shopping, Musk would vanish. They always knew where to find him. in the back of the nearest bookstore, sitting on the floor, already deep inside a book, completely unreachable. He ran through fiction, then comics, then nonfiction. He listed The Lord of the Rings, Asimov's Foundation series, and The Moon is a Harsh Mistress as favorites. When the school library ran out of books, he started reading the Encyclopedia Britannica, cover to cover, both volumes. The encyclopedias turned him into a walking fact machine. His sister Tosca would ask a question at dinner. Elon would answer, with the exact figure, at perigee and apogee, to the decimal. His siblings called him Genius Boy, not always affectionately. Then came Bryanston High School, and the years that Musk has never fully been able to talk about without his voice breaking. One afternoon, a boy crept up behind Musk at the top of a concrete staircase and kicked him in the head, then shoved him down the full flight. A group was waiting at the bottom. They didn't stop when he hit the ground. Musk blacked out. Kimball rushed down to find his brother's face bloodied and swollen, like someone who had just been in the boxing ring, he said. Elon spent a week in the hospital. The beating left permanent damage he would only address years later. But the stairs were not the worst of it. For 3 or 4 years, the same group hunted him. They went so far as to beat up the boy Musk considered his closest friend, until that friend agreed to stop knowing him. That hurt, Musk said. Years later, telling this part of the story, his eyes filled with tears. There was no escape at school. And at home, there was no escape either. Around age 14, the pressure found a new form. Not from outside, from inside. Musk hit what he would later call a full-on existential crisis. If the world was this broken, what was the point of anything at all? He did what gifted adolescents do. He went looking in philosophy, in religion. He sampled ideologies one after another, and found nothing that answered the question that was actually eating at him. What am I supposed to do with my life? Then he picked up a paperback, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams, a comedy, a science fiction novel. The last place most people would look for a life philosophy, and exactly where Musk found his. Adams wrote that the hardest thing in the universe is not finding the answer, it's figuring out the right question. Musk absorbed this completely. He arrived at his own conclusion. The only mission that made sense was to expand the scope of human consciousness, so humanity could figure out better questions to ask. By high school, Musk was launching model rockets in the schoolyard during breaks, arguing for solar power in science class, and discussing the future of banking with his brother Kimball between lessons. His classmates remembered him as quiet, unremarkable. There were no signs, one said. They were looking at the wrong signals. While his peers saw an average student, Musk was already building the map. He knew exactly where he wanted to go. The United States, Silicon Valley. The only place on Earth, he believed, where his kind of thinking could actually become something real. South Africa required military service. Musk refused to participate in the apartheid regime. But the real pull was simpler and older than politics. Kimball put it plainly. South Africa was like a prison for someone like Elon. When a change in law allowed his mother May to pass her Canadian citizenship to her children, Musk moved immediately. He researched the process, completed the paperwork, waited a year for approval, and the moment his passport arrived, without hesitation, he left home for good. 17 years old. A boy with no friends, hospitalized by bullies, abandoned by his only close friend, chose not to become smaller. He chose to build something bigger than the damage. The books were never an escape. Every hour in that bookstore corner was an hour constructing the internal engineering that would later produce rockets, electric cars, and a reason to go to Mars. Elon Musk's childhood didn't break him. It blueprinted him. Before any company, before any dollar, the bullied boy from Pretoria had already decided what the only mission worth a human life was. He left South Africa at 17 with almost nothing, and he already knew exactly why. The bullied kid from Pretoria? Turns out, he was never the one who needed saving. Before you go, one question. Drop it in the comments. He left South Africa at 17 with almost no money and nowhere to stay. Would you have gotten on that plane? Next chapter. 30 people took that lumber mill job. By day 3, 5 were left. By the end of the week, it was just Musk. Subscribe so you don't miss it. If this was worth your time, like and subscribe. Next chapter's harder.